So far we have seen like some basics about Docker, container creation, those and all we have seen, right? So before going to the next concept, right? Yesterday we have seen like container creation, removal, so many things we have seen, like commands, different commands, right? Creating CentOS, exec, pass and pass like that, attach, like so many commands we have seen. Now I have a question. If I have created two instances, right? On a AWS or anywhere like two computers or two EC2 instances, can I have each Tomcat on a different instance with same port number? Is this possible? Is this valid or not? Instance one, I install Tomcat.
Valid, sir.
8080. Yeah, valid. Can I have one more Tomcat with the same port number here in the same instance?
No.
No, sir.
No. Why? Because why?
IP address is
This IP address same, sir.
Yeah, IP address is same. IP address of the instance is same. In that you are installing a Tomcat with same port number. So this port belongs to this host. This port number nothing but a host port number. So when you call this host with IP address colon 8080, it will redirect that to the Tomcat which is running with the 8080. So this basically it is a port number. So the host port of 8080 we are assigning to Tomcat and saying if someone accesses this host with 8080 port number, that has to be redirected to this Tomcat. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
This is also same case. Okay, good. Now let me go to the container part. So here you are clear, right? Each instance will have separate port number, separate IP address. Either that is a public IP or private IP. Each instance will have its own private IP and public IP. Fine. Now I'll take base OS. I'll take Docker. Okay. Now I have created one container. I have created one more container. Each container will get a private IP from the network. Yes or no?
Yes.
So can I have 8080 port number used for this container? For example, this is a Tomcat container. This is also one more Tomcat container. Can I have 8080 port number for this also?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Why? Because it is on the same Docker, right? But two containers. How can two containers can have same port number?
For every container, there will be different IP address.
Exactly. Yeah. If you are clear about this, then half of my job is done today, right? So each container has its own private IP address. As I said, on a Docker, when we install Docker, there will be one default network. So whatever the containers we create, that will fall under that network. Or else we can create our own network and place inside the container, place containers inside the network. Okay, that custom network or one more network we'll see later. For example, these two containers on the default network. That network has some IP address range. So whenever you can create a container, each container will get one IP address, right? So that is the reason, as it has IP address, separate IP address, we can have port number. As it has its own IP address, we can have this port number. Yes or no? This is like a different application itself. Understood, guys? Like different operating system itself, you can treat, no problem. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Next, what I want to tell today's concept is, what I'm going to discuss is, for example, this is an internal container port number or base port number, base OS port number. This is container port or base port?
Base
Container.
port, sir.
Hey, container port.
Containers.
Container port. When you want to expose this, you have to expose like this. Whenever you're creating the container --8080 colon 8080, you have to tell. All right. So you have to tell this is my container port. This is my container port. If someone accessing the host with 8080 port number, it has to be redirected to this container like this you are saying. Right. So this is a host port. This is a container port. Right. Now to expose this container while creating the container, can I tell like this? Can I tell like this to expose this container? All right. Can I tell like this? Is this correct? Valid?
No, sir.
No. Why? Because this is okay. This is okay. But the container port is okay. But host port 8080 is already utilized. So I have to change this at least. So if someone accesses the host with 8081, then you have to redirect to the container which is running with 8080 like this we can use. So these are the host ports, right? So these are the container ports. Container can have same port number because they are running with a different IP address. But when you are mapping this container using this, so this container has a private IP address. Using this private IP address, you cannot access the container from outside world. So how you have to come? You have to come via this base OS because it has public IP address. You have to come here and then come here. So this is a container port, but you have to tell to the base OS, hey, if someone is accessing with 8081, you redirect the request to this container which is running with 8080. Like that you have to tell. Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we'll see that. Okay, I'll come to this point in after some time, right? Okay, I'll keep this as it is. I'll come to this once again. Now tell me one thing. I have this container. For example, it is CentOS container, right? I created a container, CentOS container. I using Docker attach command, I went inside the container. I created 2 files, right? This container has been created with the CentOS 7 image. CentOS 7 image. I created this container. Okay, there is an image available with CentOS 7. Using that, I created a container. Inside that container, I created few files and folders. Now, I saw that there is CentOS 8 image is available. So what I thought is, let me create a container with the latest image. I removed this container. So when I removed this container, did the data is lost here? When I remove the container, where are the folders present? Files, whatever you created present inside the container, right?
Yes.
So when I remove the container, am I losing the data?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So using the latest image, if I try to create one more container with the same name, for example, for this, I have given the name as container 2. Even if I give the container name as container 2, will I get back this data here, or it will be like a new container?
New content.
New container, sir.
So in this case, let's put the example of Jenkins. So I have created a Jenkins. I have created a image with Jenkins hyphen like 2.7 version or something, right? I created a Jenkins container. With this image. I created 100 jobs. After 6 months, we came to know that there is a latest version of image, Jenkins image available with extra features. Right, we need that functionality. The new version has one new functionality, right? That we need it. So what I did is I removed this container. So I created a new container with that. So did I lost the jobs? Do you need to recreate all the things? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what is the point here? The data present inside the container. The data present inside the container will be available till the life cycle of that container only. Once you remove the container, the data is lost. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to persist my data beyond the life cycle of my container. Means I want to keep the container data even after its life cycle. Means even if I remove a container, I want the data. So when I recreate a container, the new container should get the same data. So I want to persist container data beyond its life cycle. So what should we what should we do to this, or how can we do this is, see, every container will looks like a operating system. Yes or no? Even if it is a Jenkins container, in Docker, to create a Jenkins or any application, to create any container, we don't need any operating system. I don't want to create a CentOS operating system. On top of that, install Jenkins. I don't want to do like that. I can directly create a Jenkins container itself, right? There will be a image kind of, not an image, there will be like a shadow kind of operating system, but that will be internally using the base OS. Yes or no?
Yes.
When I create a Jenkins container, do this Jenkins need an operating system to create this Jenkins container?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll kill you.
No, sir. For the container, not necessary.
To create this Jenkins container, do you need an operating system?
No, sir.
Do you need operating system? No. How then? It will use the base OS.
Base OS.
Base OS directly it will use. But when you use Docker attach and get inside the container, it looks like there is a operating system here, but that is not an operating system actually. Okay. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, now I forgot. You diverted me somewhere. Okay.
You're
Okay.
saying copy, sir. I mean, data
Okay.
storage.
Okay. I got it. Now what I'll do is, when I create any container, any container, it doesn't need operating system. But if I get inside the container, it looks like there is an operating system inside the folder structure and all looks like operating system, but that is not an operating system. It is like just a shadow kind of, that is like a imaginary kind of operating system. That's it. Okay, you understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now what I'll do is, somewhere in this Jenkins, there will be Jenkins home directory, right? In this Jenkins container, we know, right? Whenever we install Jenkins, there will be var/lib/Jenkins, where all the Jenkins information will be stored. You all know, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
like this, in this container also, there will be some home directory, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, I'll take that home directory and I'll map to one of the location on my base OS. I'll take some folder on my base OS, like OPT something or else var/something. One folder I'll take, I'll map it here. So now what I'll do is, as I map these two locations, right? What will happen is, whatever I place inside this, whenever I create a Jenkins job, Jenkins is going to create under this var/lib/Jenkins directory somewhere here, right? Not exactly, some path here. It will place the job information here. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So that will be copied here. That will be copied here. So whatever the actions I do on my Jenkins, that will be placed here. So as I'm taking a backup of that here, as I map this location to this location, everything on my base container, whatever is there on my container on this folder, that has been taken backup here. Yes or no? Now, if I remove my container, the data present on my inside my container is lost for sure. But the data, backup data on my host OS or base OS, is that lost?
No.
No. So this container is removed. When I'm creating a new container, so that as it is a Jenkins container, the home directory for this container also same, right? This path and this path are same, right?
Yes.
Can I map this path to this path of my container wherever backup is there? So when I map it, whatever is there on this base OS, that will come here. So now I created a new container with the latest image, but it is not looking like a new container. The data whatever was present on the old container, that as it is came to my new container. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, this is how we can persist the container data beyond its life cycle. This concept is called as volumes. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Is it clear how to store a container data,
Yeah.
right? And how to use that data for the next containers, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now the volume can be, this is called as volume. This is called as volume. This volume can be used for multiple containers at a time. For example, I have this Jenkins 1, right? For example, this is Jenkins 2. I have one more Jenkins 1 container. I'll map this path of this Jenkins container to the same volume. So now if I create a job here, that will be stored here, that automatically replicates here. If I create one job here, that automatically stores here, and that will be replicated here. So two containers are sharing same volume, a job created in one container will be automatically visible on the same other container as well. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the concept. Now let's try to implement this.
But then there will be unnecessary space utilized in both containers.
Not like that. I'm just saying example. You can share not only for Jenkins, for any container. If you want to share the data or the between the containers, you can use like that. Okay. Okay. Now let me take one example and do this. So now what I'll do is I'll go to Jenkins, not Jenkins, sorry, Docker Hub. I'll go. Jenkins. See, if I go to this Jenkins, this is the official image, right? Yes or no? If I go here, if you scroll down at the end, right, you can see here example how to use this container. how to use this container. Some examples they have given, like Jenkins version, something it is saying. But if you observe at the top only here, somewhere you see here, it is saying this image has been deprecated for over 2 years. 2 years back itself, this image has been deprecated, means we should not use this. They are saying this is going, you don't use this image anymore. It is saying. In favor of that, use this image, Jenkins latest, this image you can use, provided and maintained by the Jenkins community as part of the project release process. The image found here have not received updates of the and will not receive any updates in future. Remaining tags are here. It is saying, so you don't use this image. You don't use this official image. Instead of that, you use this image. They are saying, so let's go to this image. Okay, I'm going to this image. Now we want to use this image. So it has different tags. Okay, if you want to search for this, you can search from here only, Jenkins /Jenkins. This is the image. Okay, this you can go here. Okay, that is the same thing here. So you can use it here. You can use it here, right? Now, if you want to see for tags, you can see for different tags here. I want to go for this latest tag. If you go here, right? So you can see that how the image has been developed. Okay, before going to that, let me explain something only about that image only, Jenkins image. Okay, this image, right? You scroll down, it will see this. It will show that how to create using this Jenkins image, right? Whatever we have, how can we use that image, right? We can use this Docker run, Jenkins image and port number mapping. Or else if you want to use a volume, you can use like this. If you want to use something else like that, right? Okay. So like this, you can read it and understand it. So they have given the examples also how to use this image, use this image, right? So if I go to Docker file, of this, they have explained like this. So what is the prerequisite for Jenkins? Java we need. So they have took that base image. So this is how they developed the Jenkins image. So this is the Docker file they have created to create Jenkins image. So first what they took OpenJDK as a prerequisite, the base image as JDK, right? So they don't want Tomcat. Yesterday we installed Jenkins on Tomcat. That is a different way. We took Java Tomcat, inside Tomcat web apps directory, we placed Jenkins var file. That is one way of doing, deploying Jenkins var into Tomcat. This is like installing as per operating system, right? Yum install Jenkins we do, right? Like that it is. So they took OpenJDK, they did some yum updates and all. I'll explain what is this round command, arguments commands. They created one variable like user Jenkins, like that. Something they did. They took one volume here, var/Jenkins home. Means, what does that mean is, if you are going to have a container, right? The container is of Jenkins type. What should be the Jenkins home directory? If it is manual installation, yum install Jenkins, if you do on a Red Hat mission, what is the Jenkins home directory? var/lib/Jenkins, right? But what they are saying is, as we are creating a Jenkins as a container, the home directory of Jenkins should be this one, var/Jenkins home. So all the information of Jenkins will be stored inside this location. If you want to create a volume, if you want to persist your Jenkins data beyond its life cycle, you have to map that var/Jenkins home directory to some other directory, base OS directory. So whatever you create on Jenkins, that will be persisted on var/Jenkins home, that you can copy it here. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is going to be this path. The container, wherever your container data is going to be stored, right? That is going to be this path. Okay, this you can take any path as it is as per your wish, but this should be this only. Why? Because all the container data will be storing on this volume only. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like this they have developed, and they expose this agent port number, HTTP port number, user, something they said, and finally they are running some script to start your Jenkins. So somehow they did this. Okay, we'll see that. So I don't want to use this image, so let me go to this image. I'll try to create a container, right? I will try to create a container. So, but let me take this, but this is not enough. This is just for pulling. I don't want to do that. I want to create a container as well. Right? So let me take this example. But I'll use that image, not this Jenkins image, Jenkins/Jenkins image. Okay, let me copy this. Oh, I haven't launched that instance, AWS console. Let me quickly log in, guys. Okay, so this is my instance. So this is my instance wherever my Docker is installed. So I logged into that and connected, right? So yesterday I showed you, right, how to remove that sudo. If we add that this user to Docker group, you don't need to use sudo anymore, right? Now, what I'll do is I'll try to create this container. I'll try to create this container, but with a different, that Jenkins/Jenkins image, right? Jenkins/Jenkins. I'm not giving tag, but I want to run it in a detached mode. I want to run it as a detached mode, -itd I'm giving, right? So this Jenkins image is not there locally, it is pulling, and the latest, as I'm not given the tag, it is pulling latest image, right?
So there are two ports.
I am explaining that. So let's try to understand this. So you know this Docker run means to create a container. ITD means interactive and detached mode, right? Next, this port number is there. So what is this port number is? See, you want to expose your port. You want to expose your container with a port number. So that is the reason you have given. Okay, just a second. So you have to expose it with the port, host port. Okay, you are giving that. Okay, so I'm going to create this container, I said, right? So this is host port. This is container port. How you know this is going to be our container port is, if you go to our Jenkins Docker file, right, here itself they have said, here in the example command only they have given, but here itself also you can see this. The container is running with 8080 port number they have arranged. Okay, so here also you can see this. Here also they have given that the right side one is container port. The right side one is container port. This is host port, right? So the container port is 8081. You have to leave it as it is, but you can change the host port. If you don't like to 8080, you can keep 8081 or 9090, whatever you want. You can keep this port, the supported ports, right? So container port. So I'm saying the container is running with 8081, 8080 port number. If someone tries to access my Docker host, right, the container is running with 8080 port. If someone tries to access my host with 8080, please redirect that to the container. Please redirect to this container, whatever I'm going to create. And that container is running with 8080 port number, right? The container is running with 8080 port number. So if I try to access this host like this IP address, http://172.4.80, something like this, :8080. So now tell me, I'm accessing the host or container directly with this. This is the host port or container port?
Host port, sir.
Okay, this is the host port. This is the host port. So you are saying if someone tries to access your host with 8080 port number, right? This will the request come here. You redirect that request to the container which is running with 8080 port number. So this is container port. This is host port. Okay, and the redirection happens like this. So you are saying this. Next, why we need one more port number here? This is not for accessing. This Jenkins need internally for its agents. So Jenkins is going to create its own agents there. If you go to the Docker file, you can see that 5,000 number, right? Sorry, 50,000 number, right? So it is using for some agent ports. So we don't need this. We can leave this as it is. We can leave this as it is for the container itself. You don't need to touch it. Okay. So I created a container. So we want to change, we can change this, but we can leave this as it is for the agents part. So we no need to touch this, right? This is for internally used by Jenkins, because it is going to launch some agents and all. So it will be used for internal. You can leave this as it is. And this is the image I want to create a container. Done. So understood, guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, yesterday in the same instance, we assigned this port for Tomcat also, sir.
So now first, let me see that. Okay, this got hanged. Let me reconnect and see. I'm not sure whether this is assigned or not. If there is an error, it will show error. So we'll see. Okay. Docker ps -a. So if I say this, all the containers are in exited state. Only this is in running state. So quickly, let me remove this CentOS and other containers. Let's not keep any confusion for you. So if there is so many containers, we'll get confused. So let me quickly remove these containers. So see, in real time, they'll ask question how to remove all the stopped containers at a time. Right? You should not remove. You should not use single command rm 4 times to remove the container. Right? You should not use this rm 4 times. If there are 4 running containers, at one shot you have to remove all 4 running containers, or else stopped containers. they'll ask all the containers, all the running containers at a time, or else only stopped containers at a time, or else all stopped and running containers at a time. So there is a option. I'll tell that later. Okay, let me check this. So I have, okay, one more container is there. Let me remove this also. Okay. So I have only one container which is running and it is accessible with 8080 port number. So I'll quickly access it. So I'll take the public IP address of this. I'll pass the host IP. So when I hit this, the request will go to host, and as for the container we have matched, right? So you have to access with that and all, right? It has to redirect to the container with 8080 which is running internally. Okay. Now from where I have to get this secret admin password? Now tell me. This Jenkins is where this Jenkins is running. Quick guys, where this Jenkins is running?
Container.
As a container it is running. So from where I have to get this path? Jenkins is a container. So I have to cat like this. Is this correct? Do I need to cat like this?
No.
From where I have to get?
I think we have to go
Inside the
inside
container.
container.
Yeah, how to get
EXE.
inside the container?
Docker attach,
I don't want
No.
to get attached. I can use
EXE.
exe also, right?
execute.
Docker exec. So I can give like this. Is it printing? Right? In this
Yes, yes.
container, so in this container, it has executed this cat command, and for this path, got the result and displayed here. Can I get this? Okay,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
getting it. I'll go here. Okay, I'll go to my Jenkins. All right. Paste it here. Continue. So install plugins. I'll install all the plugins. Now I install all the plugins. I'll install almost. Let me install all the plugins. You continue. Means you join back in the next session. We'll discuss about that volume concepts and all. Okay, the meeting is going to end. You join back for the next session. By the time I'll install all the plugins and keep it ready. Okay, it is installing all the plugins to my Jenkins. Okay, I'm going to set up this admin user also.